Hello everyone, I am as always your host Brody Robertson, and today is episode 19 of Tech Over Tea, and this time we're doing a bit of a solo episode because I've got a bit of housekeeping that I kind of want to get done, and I feel like it just made sense to do this as a bit of a solo episode rather than trying to drag someone else into this. So it's probably going to be way shorter than it normally is. I'm not going to do 4 hours by myself. We'll see if we get to like half an hour, an hour. I'm not really sure how long it's going to go, but hopefully it's still going to be fun. Next week we will actually have a guest. Next week I'm going to have Donald Fury on. You would have absolutely no idea who he is. He is a very, very small Linux content creator, and he's a pretty awesome dude. So hopefully that ends up being fun. By the time you guys see this, I'm pretty sure I will have recorded the episode because we're recording it next Monday, my time. Yeah, so it'll be recorded by the time you see it, but yeah. So, what do I actually have on the list that I want to talk about? So, the first thing was I actually have these scenes working properly now. So, as you can notice, I can bring up this video scene here. I don't know why I tried to move my mouse to show you that. You can't see it. There we go, that side. So, video scene over there, and we've got the main scene here. I might end up making this scene here a little bit bigger. I feel like, I don't know how big I would make it, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit neater than the other scene I have because, so with my 2 video scenes or 3 video scenes, for whatever reason the webcam cutout isn't actually in 16:9. So when I have the video there, it's a little bit off. So I probably need to go and redo those. I do have the PSD files that my artist sent me, so I could go and download a completely legal version of Photoshop and then go and fix those myself. And I probably should because this does look a little bit better, and I've also got these set up in a really dumb way. So I just move this. Oh no, this one's fine. Okay. It's still not set up the way it should be. This should actually be behind here. No. Okay, here we go. Now you see the problem. So I've got a gray square here. What this should be is actually transparent. And if it's transparent, then obviously, you know, I can just stick the webcam in here and then just make it the size I need it to be and really not worry about having to line it up like this. So I've kind of got it set up in probably the worst way possible right now. So I should probably go and fix that. It'll make it considerably easier to actually do. But also this chair makes way too much noise. I really need a new chair. Like this is what I have to deal with. I don't know. I've had this chair for not even that long, really. A year, maybe? Maybe it's a bit loose. I don't know. But it is a comfortable chair. I paid like, I don't know, 100 and something dollars for it, maybe 120. Not that much. I got it from Officeworks. Officeworks is a great store. It's also great because I get a discount there because they're part of the Kohl's group, I think. Whatever. They're part of the Flybuys program thing, so I think they are Flybuys. Anyway, working at Kohl's, I get a discount at Officeworks, so all of my office stuff is bought from there, even though some of it's not that great. Chair, for example, but also this desk that I have. The desk that I have is kind of like IKEA-y. That's not a description. That's not a verb whatsoever, but I'm going to go with it. It's kind of IKEA-y, so it's sort of like flat packy, and I just slightly wobble it, and also my monitor is very wobbly, so my apologies for that. The stand on this thing is pretty garbage, would be the best way to describe it, I would say. So, yeah. Hopefully, even just tapping the table. It's a problem of both things. The table is garbage, and the monitor stand is pretty garbage as well. If I didn't have, if I had a better spot for my TV, I would probably have a monitor arm, and then that would probably be way better, because anything's probably going to be more stable than the stand that's on this monitor right now. So, yeah. Anyway, that's not exactly what I wanted to talk about today, but I've got some little side things I can talk about to bring this out to an hour, and hopefully it should be fun. So, what did I actually want to talk about? Alright, so with these bindings here, I don't know why I didn't think of doing this earlier. What I was doing earlier to actually do these bindings was I had them on Super Shift 1 and Super Shift 2. Now I'm using my numpad. And do you know why the numpad's great? It's because the numpad doesn't do anything on my system. Obviously, I have it's set up so you can do like the arrow key movement and you can like move around, but it doesn't print out numbers. So it's pretty much fine to just use the numpad. I was gonna get like a macro keyboard thingy, so it's like a little one that I could use. But I've heard depending on what one you're using, they can be a bit of a problem on Linux. So I would have to specifically buy a one that I knew would work. I guess I could also get, well, it depends, because some of them, they just use like F13 through 25, and for those are fine. I think there's 25 F keys? We're going to find out right now. I didn't actually switch back to the other scene. There we go. Cool. Cool, that does work. Oh yeah, the other problem is because I'm pressing down, it also will scroll down on web pages, which is fun. How many F keys are there? Let's find out. How many F keys are there? Hey, look, comes up straight away. There is... Okay, no, we don't care that there are F1 to 10. No. Wikipedia. Save the day. Oh, no. Let's see. Is there anything in here? Control? No. I don't know. I know that there's extra F keys that are generally not on the keyboard, and they're normally just there for, like, doing macros and stuff. I don't think that's actually the reason they're there for, but that's what a lot of keyboards end up using them for that have, like, a little macro pad thingy. So, I was thinking of getting something like that, and then I realized I just had a numpad I wasn't using, and the numpad saves some money. Obviously, it's a bit of a problem because it, like, moves stuff around, and I'll probably end up getting a separate thing at some point anyway, or... Actually, that's a good idea. I could rebind the numpad, so it's all F keys. Yes, that's a solution, actually. So I could bind it to F13 through 25. How many keys are there? I don't know. There's the 9 number keys. 4, 6, 7. So there's 16 keys. Yeah, I could probably remap it like that, and then it wouldn't be a problem, because then, yeah, as you saw, the problem is it moves around. It can be a bit of a problem when I try to do it when I'm, like, reading an article, and I'm recording a video, but most of the time, it's not a problem. Because most of the time, it'll just move the cursor if I'm in Vim or something like that, and while being annoying, it's not really the end of the day, I would say. I should just put this drink on my desk. I don't know why I keep putting it on the floor when I know how much noise this thing makes. There we go. That shake anything? Oh, now I got some... my drink wasn't closed, probably. I got some water on my mouse pad. And I got some water on my copy of Goblin Slayer as well. It's 3rd volume. Pretty good volume. Go read it. Yeah, go read Goblin Slayer. It's pretty good. I'm not going to open up the cover because there's something that'll probably get me pulled down from YouTube if I show it to you. Can I open up anything and it not be a problem? Yeah, that page is probably a problem. There we go. 3rd volume of Goblin Slayer. Nice art. Go read it. The anime was pretty good as well. The problem with the anime is they switched around scenes. So I think episode 12 was actually the end of the 1st volume. I think 11 and 12 maybe. I don't remember exactly how many episodes it was. The scene, or the big scene where there was the fight on the farm, all of that was all of that was at the end of the 1st volume, but they decided to move it to the end of the anime season because it kind of wrapped it off. So if you haven't seen Goblin Slayer, basically it's set up in a way where it's technically not what's the word? Is it episodical? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Where there's not really a continuous storyline? Episodical might be the one I'm thinking of. Where you can kind of move the episodes around. It doesn't really matter. There's obviously an overarching story of some sort, but the order exactly doesn't matter because every episode they'd be going on like adventures to some place. So as long as you didn't mess up the order of the things happening in a single adventure, that anything else would be fine. So if you just took Adventure 3 and put it in Adventure 1's place, that would be fine. And that's kind of what happened with the end of the season. So there was this big fight that was kind of a good way to cap off the season. And if they'd put that at episode 6, it would feel really weird because how did season 2, season 1? Season 2, what am I saying? Volume 2. I'm going to grab the book. Let's see. Ugh. I have a bookshelf right off to the side here. So, yeah. Let's see. So, Volume 1 of Goblet... Actually, I'll open it up just so I can see if there's anything Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't show that one. Is there a picture here? Let's... Oh, yeah, we're going to find out how Volume 2 ends. Volume 2, and... Oh, right, Volume 2 is about the, Sword Maiden, of course. And I probably shouldn't show the picture, because there's blood in it, and YouTube doesn't like blood. Library would be fine with it, but even just, like, the tiniest bit of blood, I imagine YouTube's probably going to be like, no, that is very bad, we cannot have that. So we'll avoid showing that, and... I don't know, yeah. Speaking of other platforms besides YouTube, BitChute is... BitChute is such a meme. I'm going to show you some of the comments that I get on this platform, and I don't even know what to say about these comments, to be honest. So hopefully it doesn't start playing the audio, because that would be annoying. Let's get this one. There's only one guy who comments on my videos on BitChute. So here we go. Is he going to play the video? Yes, it is. Don't play that. Okay, cool. No, that one's fine. This is probably the most tame one I could show you. So, good tutorial, some feedback. Don't cut breathing breaks, otherwise we are forced to pause your video a lot to take in the information. It's a bad American trait. Okay, jump cuts are an American trait, sure. Sure, whatever you say. Let's go to another one then, because that's actually like the nicest one. They get really bad from here. Is it Natifier? Wait, this one he's commented on a lot. Maybe I had a conversation with him on this one. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this one's fine. Does anyone know of a CLI OBS fork, possibly OBS that uses Ulster instead of Pulse? Pretty normal. If you want if you want a real opinion if you want a real option besides Reddit, check out Vote or Pote, or better still, self-host a proper old school forum. And then, Brody, are you Jewish? What? What? Why would you ask that? This is BitChute. This platform is such a meme. Like, I think my first comment that I got from this guy was just as bad. Let's go to the PC building horror story. I think this one was just as bad. Okay, no, it wasn't the same one. Same dude, but not as bad of a comment. Natifier, is that also... I think that one was also a fun one. Yeah, here you go. Fuck apps, fuck Electron. And then this guy started following me on Minds. Yeah, he started following me on Minds, and I looked at his profile, and this dude's actually a MGTOW, which is, you know, big memes. Sure, do it, go your own way and all that, but, like, MGTOWs seem to go their own way around a lot of people, so... BitChute, it's a pretty good meme. I like the platform. It's fun. That's what I can say about BitChute. It's a fun platform if you just want to see the dumbest comments you'll ever possibly imagine, because unlike YouTube you tend to get some weird comments, but most people are kind of aware that YouTube is going to, like, bring down the ban hammer if you say anything too spicy. You go to BitChute, though, and people just they'll just like, hey, are you Jewish? Or they'll ask other stupid questions because, like, oh, you like money, therefore. Just like, what are you asking me? So that's my experience on BitChute. I have my BitChute account there because it is the platform is growing, but I think it has a bit too much baggage to really take off. I've talked about this plenty of times before, but BitChute, I feel like, because of some of the early stuff that happened, the platform's probably not going to take off. Same thing with platforms like Gab. Gab is probably a perfectly fine social media platform, and I actually have a Gab account now. I'm not actually using it. I have a Gab account just in case I ever decide to use it. If you want to follow it, it's the same name as everywhere else. It's literally got nothing on it. So I have that Gab account, and Gab has the same sort of problem where, because of some of the early stuff that happened, you're not really going to get many people outside of, I guess, the political dissidents using the platform. So that's always a problem you start seeing with a lot of these platforms. Mastodon's got its own, it's different sort of problem, where Mastodon is full of, like, left-wing people. I don't understand. Just, guys, can we just all agree? Just use a platform. Stop censoring people, just all use a platform. That's where I stand on this. I don't care where you stand on the political spectrum. I don't want to have 6 social media accounts. That's a little annoying. Normally, all I do with them is just cross-post anyway, so I think, yeah, my main platform right now it's Twitter, but sort of Mastodon. I would be using Mastodon all the time if all of the people that I wanted to talk to were on Mastodon. So what I do is I post on Twitter, and then I have a bot cross-posting to Mastodon. I wish I had a bot that could cross-post over to Minds and also Parler as well. I'll talk about Parler in just a bit. So for those ones, I just have to manually post on them. Now, there's another one that one guy's been talking about to try to get me to use it called Uptrend. And I don't know, Uptrend seems like an interesting platform as well. I'll show you what that looks like over here. Give it a second to load up. And it looks a little something like so. Now, normally the formatting wouldn't be as bad, but I only have a way to show you when it's covering half the screen. So, yeah. Anyway, it kind of looks like a mobile app right now. But it seems like an interesting platform. It's more similar to something like Minds, where you have like your crypto payments through it and things like that. You actually get paid in some sort of cryptocurrency to actually use the platform. So in that way, it's a bit different. And obviously because of that, it's mainly crypto accounts. So crypto here, I'm not logged in, so we'll see what's just on the homepage. This is from the Uptrend account. Please pay attention. Hey, Uptrending. A lot of Uptrendians are complaining that their withdrawal is approved, but they didn't receive their tokens. All these people are withdrawing their point in exchange, and on withdraw it says, do not withdraw to an exchange. Always first to your private wallet. Okay, so that's just Uptrend updates. Uptrend. Here's something that's not crypto. So this is... Oh, no, sorry. Giveaway. So this is sort of the problem you start seeing with a lot of these Telegram earn free tokens we're using Uptrend. This is Cardano, so more crypto. This is... yeah, anyway. I keep going on for that for hours. But the point I'm getting here, or the point I'm getting at here, is that a lot of these new platforms, when they first come out, they typically, I guess, center around a single type of content. So, for example, Library, when it first started, was pretty much all crypto content. Uptrend, all crypto content. A lot of the crypto platforms start as all crypto content. BitChute, it started as mainly like right-wing political stuff. And, Mastodon, you then have, I guess... Mastodon is a weird one. Mastodon has it's a lot of, obviously, open source stuff, but for whatever reason, a lot of people in open source seem to be very left-wing people. I don't get it. Supposedly, open source software is a left-wing concept, but I don't see how it is. Someone can explain to me how it is if they want to in the comments. I don't get it, though. I don't see how freedom is a left-wing concept. But anyway, that's not really what I want to get into right now. That, maybe I'll save that for when I have someone to bounce some ideas off of. Probably not going to be next week. Next week with Donald, I'm probably going to be talking a lot of Linux. I'm probably going to be talking a lot of gaming stuff because he also does game streaming, mainly game streaming right now, actually. It's actually kind of unfair to call him a Linux creator. It's probably more fair to say he's a Chrono Trigger streamer at this point, but hey, that's kind of cool. So, speaking of streaming, I'm actually considering starting streaming myself. Now, I don't know when I'm going to do it because my problem is that I have way too much junk to do right now. So, if you don't know, I've got my job where I'm working in a supermarket. I usually do 8 to 11-ish hours a week. Anything, at that point, I can pay for my rent and pay for my bills, and then the YouTube and stuff like that can cover the rest of it, or it mainly right now is covering investments. I don't really have that many bills. I share house. It's real cheap. I don't really have any debts. Nice. Yeah. Being 22 is nice. So, anyway, so I'm thinking of starting streaming, and what I'm probably going to do is stream on Twitch, because I don't want to clutter up my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel already has way too much content on it. Unless I was to like not upload once a week, and then the stream could be on that day, but then, I don't know, I feel like when it comes to game streaming, it really only makes sense to watch it when it's live. I've watched, I guess, a couple of game streams that aren't live, but what it's going to be is just the entire stream. I'm not going to clip stuff out unless like it started really taking off, and if it really started taking off, I would put it on another channel. So I would have my main channel where I do the Linux stuff, I would have the podcast channel where I do the podcast stuff, and then the game streaming channel where I have the game streaming stuff. And I feel like that's a better way to do it, because as you probably know, YouTube really punishes channels for uploading too much content. You might notice this during... Actually, that didn't even happen this year. Last year in CES. So if you were following any of the big tech channels, or if you're following any of the gaming channels during E3 or anything like that, they'll upload 5-6 videos a day, and then YouTube just plummets them into the ground, and they don't really push them to anyone, because no one, like, they understand that no one wants to watch that many videos in one day from one channel. I guess some people probably do, but the vast majority of people have multiple interests and want to watch content from this creator and want to watch content from this creator. So if you try to push 6-7 videos from one channel to a person in a day, what would be the way to describe it? Lowers the viewer retention rate would probably be the best way to describe it, I would say. So YouTube tends to punish channels that upload too much. Maybe it'd be fine with 2 videos, but I feel like it'd probably be better to just split it over. Now, I went off the point I was saying before. This is what happens when I don't have someone to bounce ideas off of. My rambly side comes out way more than it probably should. And plus, I'm just, for whatever reason, I seem to stumble over what I'm saying when I talk to people. Not on the podcast. The podcast tends to like go fairly well compared to how I normally talk to people, because when I'm normally talking to someone, I don't know what happens. It's just like blah, and that's I see. I have my OBS on my my screen, and there's a slight delay. So if it happened at the same time that I was doing that, that would be one thing. But I think for whatever reason, OBS kind of delays itself when you have too many images on the screen, and because I've got in my webcam's the wrong way around. It's actually the way that it should be, but different for the podcast. Anyway, up in that corner, I have the Tech Over T logo. So because of that, that's a separate image layer. And OBS seems to die when you have too many image layers. I'm not sure what happens there. I think it might be a Linux problem, because I've never seen it happen on Windows. Because I see people, obviously they'll have multiple layers when they're doing stuff, when they're streaming and stuff. So I don't know if it's a streaming problem or a not streaming problem, it's a recording problem, or what it is. Because if it's a streaming problem, that's going to make streaming very difficult. But I'll talk to Donald about it and see if he has any issues with it himself. So I went completely off track there. Right. So 10 hours a week at my day job. It's, I guess, technically a night job. I'm a night filler. Nice, boring work. It's great, actually. It's easy work. It's boring. It lets me think about stuff. Yeah, I'd much rather be doing that than doing some really labor-intensive work. Like, I have a mate who used to be one of those people, I don't know if this is a thing outside of Australia. Actually, probably is, yeah. It's just recycling. So in Australia, we get like 10 cents back for things like cans and bottles. So they're all taken to like a recycling plant, and then someone has to separate them out. And I had a mate who did this as a job. And that obviously is going to smell really bad, and it's out in the hot sun, and it's just a terrible job to do. I have air conditioning, working in a supermarket, doing night filling, pretty easy job. But I've also got my honours project, and my honours project tends to fill as much time as it needs to fill, because I have a lot of work to do in it. So if I wasn't doing the honours, I would absolutely be streaming right now. And the thing is with YouTube as well, I've noticed, well, what I decided to do is I've taken my regular setup of doing one video a day, 7 days a week, and very recently decided to crush it down into, I don't know how recently now, maybe in the past month or so. I'm still kind of getting used to it. I'm trying to see whatever works best to make sure I can plan them out properly. But what I've done is now gone down to 7 videos across 5 days. So that means that I have to do 2 double days, which means if I work those days, basically I don't have the ability to do anything else, because I'll start the recording, I will finish the recording, start the recording, finish the recording, 2 videos done. Then I will go and edit the 2 videos and make the thumbnails and upload the video for that night, and then it's basically time to go to work. So on the days that I do double videos, I try not to do them on the same days where I work, because otherwise I literally cannot do anything else that day. But yeah, so I would say that video production right now probably takes up more time than it should. I think it's probably fair to say 20 hours a week at least, which, looking at the pay, probably doesn't justify it. But you know what? I love it, so I get to play with computers all the time. It's like, even though I could be working a dev job, this is so much more fun. I'm going to talk to Donald about doing dev work next week as well. Because he was a web dev for 4 years. I'm not going to go too much in depth to that. We'll save that for the actual podcast. But he was a web dev for 4 years and has kind of hit the point that I'm at right now about dev work. But I managed to skip the 4 years of dev work. I did 6 months, and I've watched a lot of creators who talk about the current state of the industry, and I don't want to get involved with that. Maybe I will in the future. Obviously, I'm going to finish my degree, but if I don't use my degree, then that's fine. I don't need that much money. As long as I'm making enough to survive, that's really all I care about. If I don't know, I'm going to be investing stuff, so as long as the YouTube things last, I'm going to be investing, so hopefully I can get a pretty solid investment done by if it dies out in a couple of years. I would hope that it doesn't. I would hope that if it does die out, I've already shifted over to something else. Part of the reason why I do want to start streaming, because, hey, maybe the live streaming thing takes off, or maybe this other thing takes off. Because it's not like I don't enjoy what I do right now. I absolutely love the Linux content I make right now. But at some point, it's very possible that people who are watching it, they stop loving it and they move on to something else. So I don't want to, like, I've seen so many creators who kind of let themselves die out into, like, obscurity and don't really try to start up something new. And I don't want to have that happen. I want to be always doing multiple things at once. So if one of them ends up dying out, hey, well, I can shift over to this. So that's part of the reason I do the podcast. Like, I love the podcast. The podcast is fun. It gives me an opportunity to talk to people I would never have the ability to talk to otherwise. For example, I had Crypto Hustler on the other week. I wouldn't ever get an opportunity to talk to someone like that without a podcast. I had Arias Denarius on last week. Next week, I'm having Donald. Well, Donald's in my Discord. He's also a patron. But yeah, the patron, the Discord thing's also another thing that I want to talk about in a bit. But yeah, with the Discord, it gives me and with the podcast, and obviously with the channel, it gives me an opportunity to just talk to people that I wouldn't be able to talk to otherwise. Now, Donald's obviously not like someone way out there. He's just a very small creator. But it's not like I would ever come across this person under normal circumstances. That's kind of the point I'm getting at here. And with the podcast, I can then be like, hey, I have this podcast. And it also then gives me the ability to talk to people who probably would never give me the light of day otherwise. Like, for example, at some point, I want to bring DistroTube onto the podcast. I think that would be so much fun. And I'm kind of waiting for the point where, at least on Library, the channel is big enough where I can really justify is probably a good way to explain it, where I could give him a good enough reason to want to come onto the podcast, because with a channel that has 60,000 subscribers, there's no point going on a podcast that has like 115 subs on YouTube. So if I build up another platform, like I build up my library, if I build up my library, then I can be like, hey, I have this big library channel, come on and chat. And there's other people who I want to talk to, like Scott C. Business, who I would absolutely love to talk to. I've been private messaging him. I've private messaged him a few times on Twitter, so I've at least got like that foot in the door. We're both following each other. I can DM him and be like, hey, you want to come on the show? Maybe he'll do it. I don't expect him to, but if he wants to, the door is always open. And that's kind of the thing. The door is really open to anyone. Even if I get to the point where I am bringing on those bigger creators, I don't want to stop bringing on people that have 100 subscribers, or I don't want to stop bringing on people who are just my mates as well. Like, you don't need to have a big channel or be a big creator online to actually come onto a podcast. And I kind of want to, I guess, be a podcast where I'm just talking to interesting people, regardless of whether they have 100,000 subs or they have 0 subs and they're just some dude who I think's interesting. That's kind of what I want to do with this, really. So, yeah. We're somehow already at half an hour. I didn't actually expect to be able to, ramble off this much, because usually, I think it's been, 6, 7, 8 episodes? I don't know. When was the last time I did a solo episode? We're going to find out right now. We're going to do this live. That's what we're... No, I guess technically not live. I could just cut this and you wouldn't know, but... actually, no, I probably couldn't do that because I'm terrible at editing. I really wish Library TV was a bit quicker than this, but it's fine. So, it was before I changed my thumbnail style back... Okay, Jai's on the show at this episode. Ken Lee. Koza. Here we go. Okay, so it was episode 8 was the last time I had a solo episode. And yeah, what shirt am I wearing? This isn't the same shirt. I hope it's the same shirt. I'm going to turn this down. We're going to just wait for this to load. This is the fun of using Library TV. So I guess it is the same shirt. But when was it uploaded? April? So that would have been spring or something. And I only had 49 views. Huh. Well, I guess my clips tend to not get that many views anyway. So, yeah. Because, yeah, the reason I'm wearing this picnic blanket right now is because it's winter and it's cold outside. It's actually not that cold. It's cold for being in Australia, so that means, 14 degrees Celsius, which is... I don't know. What is that in freedom units? 14 degrees C to F. Okay. This is literally the opposite of what I just wrote in. 14 degrees C, and it's converting Fahrenheit to Celsius. No, we want to do that in the other order. So 14 Celsius to Fahrenheit, so it's 57.2. So not actually cold. When I was up at my parents' place the other day, it was, I think, got down to 2, which is almost, is 30. I think 30 is where water boils. Oh, water does not boil at 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Water freezes. Is it 30? I don't remember. What is 0 Celsius? 32. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, it's 32 Fahrenheit is where water freezes, which is dumb. I don't like that. Anyway, so when I was up at my parents' place, which is in a rural place, and in Australia, when you tend to move away from the suburban areas, which are all coastal, it pretty much everything in Australia is coastal where the people live, because that's where the water is. So, and obviously where the ports are and all that. So it just made sense for all the towns to be built around the ocean. But when you go rural in Australia, basically, rural in Australia means desert. So you just go further and further into the desert, and obviously, going into the desert, it gets colder. Now, I wasn't actually in a desert, I was in a... What do you call what's near a river? I don't know. Well, obviously you can have rivers in a desert. That was the dumbest thing I've ever said. It wasn't really a forest. Maybe plains. That's the word I'm thinking of. It's a kind of a plains near a river. And there was little foresty areas as well, but sort of plainsy. Where was I going with this? Right, it's winter right now and it's cold. Except it's not really cold because it's Australia. Anyway, I don't think there was really a point to that. This is the most messy podcast I'm ever going to do. It's going to be so much fun to go back and find clips, because I feel like I'm swapping topics every 2 minutes. Probably not. Probably not far off from being accurate, though. Oh. Why did Tom comment on this? There's no substitute. What is this? Putting the F... Oh, okay, because it was putting the F... Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this haircut. I think I'd just gotten a haircut around this point as well. I don't know what looks better. I don't know. Well, we're gonna... There we go. So I'll switch back to this. It's still not low enough. There we go. I don't know. This is probably great for the audio listeners. Right now I'm trying to, you know, swerve back and forth to compare my head to my head earlier when I had a different haircut. I don't know how I feel about this one. I wanted a bit of a change. I feel like it looks a bit better than it did like the day or two after I got it cut, just because it was a little bit too short then. And I did also get the beard trimmed as well, because that was getting, you know, a bit scraggly at the ends. A bit too scraggly for me. Yeah, I know I had the scraggly beard back around the start of the year, but I've actually taken notice of it now, and I feel like this probably looks better. I don't know. I think that this haircut probably is better than what I had at this point, but maybe better if I like... I'm probably gonna get some wax or something, and just, you know, so I can, you know, do things to it. I don't know what I'm gonna do to it. Things. If I just make it like real messy like this. No, that just looks like I'm sort of lazy. If I do it like this, that doesn't look good at all. I don't know. What I wonder what people would say if I like came in with like spiked up hair in a video. I don't know. Because the problem I have is after a couple of minutes of recording, I usually start doing things like this, and like that looks horrible. Especially because I started the recording like this, so I probably should get something to make sure it sits there. Obviously a bit of wax will do that, but. Yeah. So my teeth are... You've probably never seen my teeth. They're like... This is the thing. Outside of America, people don't actually care about their teeth. In the US, like, everyone's like, oh, get your braces and, like, fucking clean your teeth up. Like, no. In Australia, you have, like... What is going on here? Like, look at this. Look at this thing. Yeah. my jawline is an absolute mess. Not from getting in fights, just from, you know, growing up without braces. I wonder how fucked people's mouths were, like, way back in the past, before anyone even thought of braces. Like, was it a problem, or is it a problem with the way that we live now? I don't know. I can also imagine you probably would have less teeth, because especially if you were hunting, and you're a bad hunter, or if you just got into fights with someone, you probably would have less teeth, so... Maybe your teeth would be straighter, but there would be less of them. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, one thing Let's fucking drink. I've got this thing closed, and it keeps leaking every time I move it. I guess there's like probably a little bit still in the sucky part. I don't know what you call that. It probably has a name. Anyway, what I was gonna say, this actually leads perfectly into what I was gonna talk about today. So I've mentioned before that my stepdad watches my main channel content. I don't know why. He is an old man who works on a farm. He doesn't know anything about Linux. I don't know why he watches the content, but I really appreciate it. And then I got a call from my mum the other day, and it was like a 2-minute call, and she's like, oh, Dale's got a question for you. And I started talking, and he was like, oh, how do I stream your podcast? I'm like, oh. What's going to happen when I start game streaming? Is he going to just watch my streams all day? Like, when he's at work, he's like a mechanic. When he's at work, is he going to just listen to my streams when he's working on a tractor? Is that a thing that's going to happen? I feel like it's a thing that's going to happen, and I don't know how I feel about that. But I'm not planning to watch what I say in these podcasts. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything that is going to get me, yeeted from YouTube. But I don't care. If you want to watch the show, that's cool. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll bring up some drinks next time I go up. If you're listening, probably not listening. I don't know. I don't know if you would have tuned out by this point. It's 40 minutes in. If you are listening, send me a message when you watch this. Just no context. Just say, send me a message saying like, I appreciate the drinks or something like that. Yeah, do that. If you get to 40 minutes and 27 seconds into the podcast, send me a message saying I appreciate the drinks and don't give me any other context. I just want to see that message. So I'll let you guys know, not next week, in the week after, if I ever get that message. So it's weird knowing people that watch my content. Like, obviously, I had some of my mates watch it early on who were like, oh, that's great. And no, it wasn't great. Now that I'm actually making better content, I've called them out on it. Like, no, my content wasn't good. And like, yeah, no, it actually wasn't good. I was just being supportive. Like, no, don't be supportive. Tell me it's shit. I want to know it's shit because then I can improve. That's why I'm so hard on myself, because no one else is going to be. You need friends who are going to just give you shit about it. And, that's kind of where I come in to a friend group. If what you're going to get from me as a friend is I'm going to tell you that you're being a moron and that you're doing something terrible. But I will still, look at where you can be going better. So if you start making YouTube channel, when you make content like I did back when I was in the shed, if you haven't seen the shed content, I'll bring that up. If you start making content like back when I was in the shed, I will tell you it's bad and that you shouldn't do it. So let's see. Is it going to autoplay my... It's going to autoplay that. Don't autoplay that. Let's go all the way back. Let's see. So, how far back do we have to go to see shed content? I actually don't know. Wait, why don't I just order this by... I should just order this by... Not click on that. Sort by. Date added oldest. And I was... There we go, shed. There's the shed. I actually think I got rid of this jacket. Why is my beard so terrible? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Look at this dude. Wait. Look at look at this dude. How long ago was this? 2019 July. What is this beard? It's so bad. Everything here is bad. I should have got a haircut. It would have made more sense. Why is the camera so low? You don't notice it, but there's a reason I've got this camera above where, like, I think it's like at eye level. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, it's like directly, I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to make it so you could see. Actually, yeah, we're gonna emulate this. So this is where I used to record videos. And, like looking up my nose. And it gets, I'll say about here is where I used to record with my laptop videos. Look at this. Like, this is a terrible angle. No, it should be up here. Honestly, I should probably have it a little bit higher, to be honest. Like, maybe up here or something like that. I don't know. But I don't really have a way to raise it up. Anyway, the point I was getting at there was, I look really terrible if you angle it from below. It's better at eye level, and it's probably better if it's a little bit above eye level. Most people, it's probably going to be the case like that, but also my hair was just garbage. And look at this dude. He looks so depressed right now. That's because he was. He lives in a shit house with shit people. What are these thumbnails? I've shown these before. and I got a haircut here, and why is my head shaped like a fucking Tic Tac? Is my head actually shaped like that? Is that what happens when I don't have a beard? I've had a beard for so long now that... Oh, a long beard. Is my head actually shaped like a Tic Tac? I don't know. Maybe it is. Oh, no. No, what is this? Oh. This is such a terrible haircut. What was going on with my hair at this point? Why is it... Why is it flat there? Also, another thing I do is, before I start recording a video, I will go and have a shower. Like, first thing in the morning, I have a shower now, and it fixes this hair problem for the most part. Obviously, I also comb my hair a little bit as well, but then you don't get things like this happening, where... God. What am I looking at? I think I was also a bit chubbier back then as well. I'm not sure. That's such a bad... And the beard was bad enough back then, but it gets worse from this point on until... I would say the beard gets pretty bad until about March. And people will still say, oh, the beard is bad now. I don't care if you think it's bad now. Go watch my old content and then tell me the beard's bad. I keep fucking looking into the ground to get my drink. I like the beard now. It actually looks good. Personally, I think it looks good at least. Yeah. And I've got a shaver thing somewhere, so hopefully next time it won't end up becoming so scraggly by the time I get a haircut, because usually I don't properly get it trimmed until I go and actually get my hair done, because I'll get this all done and then this all done. It just all looks nice on the same day, and then a couple of days later it stops looking as nice. But I guess this probably looks better than when I got the haircut. I spent a long time talking about my hair then. Moving on from that, I did mention Parler just a bit earlier on. So if you don't know what Parler is, it is a free speech social network. And there's a lot of people on here that, you know, I haven't heard from in a very long time. Okay, none of them are here now. But before... who was on here? Why am I not seeing anyone on here? See, you've got, like, Sugar Tits on here, which is always fun. Bearing. AIU is on here. I haven't heard anything from AIU in God knows how long. 4 or so years, I reckon, at this point. There's, like, Gavin McInnes as well. I don't know, Milo's on here. And a name I probably shouldn't say on YouTube. A certain man that starts with the name... A and ends with Jones is also on this platform. So there's a lot of people who are sort of like coming back from the dead on Parler. And it's kind of interesting. Whether you like them or not, it's always fun to see what's actually going on in their lives. So obviously Sargon's on here as well. But yeah, there's just a lot of people on here that I really haven't heard much from in a very, very long time. So it's weird to see back into their lives. So if you don't know what actually happened here, basically, I think the thing that sparked this off was Katie Hopkins getting banned from Twitter, and then a lot of other people started getting banned, and then everyone's like, you know what? Parler. Go over to Parler. This is where we're going now. And everyone's forgotten that Gab exists, because that's kind of where everyone was going to go initially, and then Gab just... No one talks about Gab anymore, I guess. It's just the thing that's over there, and we all forgot about it. Yeah, so Parler is taking off massively right now. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably #1 on the Play Store, not Play Store, Apple App Store. Parler, Apple Store. If I remember correctly, someone was saying it's like #1. Okay, no, it's no longer #1. It's now #2, which, you know, is still pretty good. I wouldn't argue that that's like a bad thing. And there are a lot of negative reviews, weirdly, which I'm not understanding this. Let's actually have a look at some of these negative reviews. It's always interesting to see the negative reviews. So, let's see. As an older woman... Actually, we'll zoom in on this. Can we zoom in? Yes. As an older woman, still young at heart, however, I was looking for an app that was easy to use and whatnot, and not confusing. My granddaughter told me about this app, and I have to say I was hesitant. The photos shown in the download store made it seem simple, but the icons looked confusing. I downloaded it anyways. Maybe this is actually a legitimate one. Okay. Wait, the news... Oh, don't get me started. The news seems to be limited and doesn't offer anything worthwhile. The app claims to be uncensored, but I believe that it's extremely censored still. It cannot be trusted. Maybe that's a legitimate review. Okay, I was expecting a meme review. Meme review. Terrible platform, no support. Harassment. I initially downloaded the app because it claimed to be an open platform for all political parties and an avid supporter of our First Amendment rights. My friends told me that they could show off their Second Amendment rights without any nasty replies. But I soon realized that there was no filter placed on posts at all. It was filled with propaganda, fake news, and racism. You downloaded an app because it was an open platform for free speech. And then you complained that it was an open platform for free speech. Interesting. So it seems like you got what you got and then didn't like it. Terrible platform, no support. Okay, we saw that one. That one we saw as well. Lots of 5 stars. 5 stars are... The reason why I'm interested in the 1 stars is because, as you can see, the 1 stars are a massive portion of the reviews. And it's always interesting to see why the 1 stars are there. So let's find another one. Harassment, lots of 5 stars. Can we find another one? Here we go. Kept forced closing. Okay, maybe there are some technical problems. I know that there are some weird problems with the app where it's... Or with the web app where it's a little bit slow from time to time. So there's probably going to be issues with the native app as well. The app doesn't work. Once again, probably the same thing. I went on this app to get some more info on politics, and as soon as I would write a different opinion than the creators and users of this app, I got harassed. I had grown adults harassing me, a 17-year-old girl, over different political opinions. I have not seen anything so horrific in my life. If you're racist, sexist, homophobic, blah, blah, all of the isms, or a disgusting human that belongs in hell, this app is for you. So you went onto an app where people were going to say what they wanted to say, and then people said what they wanted to say. This is something about, obviously design... This is the most awful app I've downloaded. It's a cesspool of bigotry. Once again, downloaded an app that people can say what they want to say, and they said what they wanted to say. So it seems like a lot of the reviews, besides the technical complaints, are people complaining that the app exists. So hey, maybe try out Parler. I don't know. There are reasons why you might want to avoid it. I know there are a lot of people complaining because it's not open source, and I can definitely get behind that. I can see why a lot of the Linuxy guys wouldn't want to use it. You're probably better off on something like Mastodon. But for most people, I don't think they really care about something being open source. I think it's more a problem about what the end state is. It doesn't really matter how you get there. If it's open source, if it's closed source, as long as in the end you can say whatever you want to say. I don't think most people are really going to care whether it's open or closed source. It's the same thing about with library. They harp on about being decentralized, but the platform is really slow, and that's part of the thing that turns people away. They don't really care if it's decentralized as long as it works. Like, most people don't care about the technical side as long as whatever comes out at the end basically gets the job they want to get done. So that's my TED Talk on Parler. Thank you for listening. But yeah, I'm still slightly hesitant about the app because with the early bannings that were happening, I'm not sure whether they were legitimate bannings. Like, I know one person got banned because they were pretending to run a senator account, which, that's fair. You probably should be banned for that. But the other bannings we saw, they didn't actually show any evidence about why they got banned. They just showed, hey, look, I'm banned. And one of the guys didn't actually get banned. He supposedly had his account set to private. But people could still find the account, so I don't know what was going on there, whether he was trying to create a stir about the platform or what was going on. But it's certainly a interesting platform for sure. And unlike a lot of other Twitter-y replacements, it feels like Twitter. The problem with Mastodon is it doesn't feel like you're using Twitter. It feels like a different platform, which is a good thing in some respects, but it's also a bad thing because when people are used to something, it's going to be very difficult to get them used to something else. So, yeah. That's part of the reason I do like Parler. So I'm still not going to say I endorse the platform, but what I will say is that I'm going to keep watching it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I can say. So, moving on from that, let's do a little bit of minor ego stroking. So there's this post over on Reddit. I don't use Reddit a ton. I mainly just use it for farming video ideas. But here's this here's this post called Best Linux Channels on YouTube. And where is it? So sensible channels here. Baby Wogue, which is always hilarious when that shows up in a list. Chris Titus, never heard of Dio Linux, but I assume is a good channel. DT, amazing channel. Flightless Mango, also haven't heard of, but probably also a good channel. Infinity Galactic, amazing channel. Level 1 Linux, amazing. Linux for everyone. The name rings a bell, but I can't think of who it is. Then you have Luke Smith, Linux Experiment, Linux Gaming Experiment. This one I don't recognize. I think they're the same channel actually. Same person who runs it. TLG, so Linux Gamer, and Wolfgang's channel. And Wolfgang is also a pretty awesome creator. Now the reason I'm talking about this is, where is it? So my name showed up. And it didn't just show up once, it also showed up twice. Which is cool. I'm very appreciative of that. And I also am in one that was hidden because someone got downvoted. No, not that one. Did this one get hidden? No, it's this one here, which got downvoted 3 times, and I upvoted it just to bring it back. Why did this get downvoted? The person answered the question the way that you'd expect them to. Same with this one. Why did this get downvoted? This person answered the question the way that you would expect them to. DistroTube, Chris Titus, Luke Smith. Is it because people don't like Luke on this subreddit? Actually, that would make sense. Judging by some of the posts that get downvoted, I can see why they wouldn't like Luke. But hey, I showed up 3 times in this list. That's cool. Which, it's surprising, but also not super surprising, I would say. Not saying that my channel is amazing, but the fact that a channel like Baby Wogue shows up, it makes sense that I would also show up, because I have, I think maybe 1,000 more subs than Baby Wogue. So if Baby Wogue is going to show up on a list like this, it sort of makes sense that I would also do it. But then also other channels like Hex DSL, who has I think 1,000 more than me, or Kai Hendry, who I think has a little bit more than me right now. Neither of them showed up on the list. So I'm just kind of flexing on the fact that I got to show up on this list, and they didn't. But I guess technically you could also say that, even though it's not technically a Linux channel, you could say that Big Daddy Linux should probably be on this list as well. I don't know why anyone didn't say that. Like, Destination Linux was on here, so it's not like they don't have Linux podcasts, but no Big Daddy Linux, which is no fun, because that's also a really good podcast. I typically don't listen to the main show. I will occasionally listen to Linux Spotlight. The main show is kind of just, it's just a bunch of people in a Discord call or whatever they use, just rambling about Linux, and for me, that's not really that interesting, but finding out more about some like Linux creators, or I guess people who are doing stuff in the Linux sphere, that actually I do find interesting. But yeah, I don't particularly want to listen to people talk about Linux for a couple of hours, because that's like what I do every day. That's the same reason why I don't typically watch much Linux content anymore. When I watch people like Luke or DT, the content I watch from them now isn't actually the Linux content. It's like the extra content they do along the side. So DT, when he does like Q&As, I'll watch those, or Luke when he talks about linguistics or whatever other nonsense he talks about, random. When he talked about roads for one episode, that was fun. But when it comes to like, here is how to do a thing in LF, here's a Vim thingy, like, that's my channel. I'm not gonna watch someone else do the same stuff that I do on my channel. That sounds pretty boring. Now, I know that obviously some people do watch the same sort of content they make. I'm not a person who really enjoys doing that, though. You can't see it right now, but my weather thing is saying that it's hailing outside right now. I'm not going to show you because it'll be difficult to get back down. It's sunny out there. I don't think there's a single cloud out there. I don't know where it's pulling this weather from, so yeah. But I was talking about Twitter alternatives before. I know that a lot of people are trying to go to Reddit alternatives as well, because there was the big Reddit banning spree as well, because everyone in Silicon Valley is getting very banny right now. So people on Reddit are getting banned, people on Twitter are getting banned, people on YouTube are getting banned. Everyone's getting banned. So this is as good a time as any to make your library in BitTube. Don't make a BitTube account. That's not a real thing. Make a BitChute account, or I guess make a BitTube account. But I don't see BitTube really doing much. I feel bad for BitTube, to be honest. Like, they honestly do have a better platform than Library, but no one cares about them. Like, on BitTube, pretty much all you have is like a little bit of like crypto stuff. Mainly it's just garbage spam content, and then you have a conspiracy theorist, and that is all you have. They don't really have anyone who's actively pushing the platform. It's kind of just a platform that exists, and there's no one using it. But it's based on the backend it uses IPFS, so it's just way more stable than what Library's doing with their nonsense. We're gonna make our own peer-to-peer protocol, and it's gonna be great. Like everyone else who does a platform like this who makes their own peer-to-peer protocol. Stop it. Just use the technology that already exists. Just build it on IPFS and we wouldn't have all of the same problems we have now. But they decided to go their way, so hey. And BitTube, I believe, is now or turning into a federated service. So it's going to have the advantage of being on the PeerTube network, which is probably going to be an improvement because then people will actually use it. So it's changing from being, or maybe it's going to be a worse thing, because now it's going to be changing from being, I guess, its own separate thing to just being a PeerTube instance. A PeerTube instance where you get paid a bit, so it's probably better than other PeerTube instances, but it's still a PeerTube instance, so it loses a lot of that value that it would have had before. Yeah, so, I don't know. BitTube, feel bad for them because all of the other platforms, well, I guess, Library and BitChute, are both getting a lot of traction from the bannings that have been happening over the past, not just very recently, but since the start of the year, really, when there was the big crypto purge, a lot of channels came over to Library, then there's been purges in between there, and people have come over. But no one cares about BitTube. Because I feel like, I don't know, I think that Scott C Business might be the biggest creator on there, and I think I might be the second biggest. Like, outside of the platform. I think I have basically nothing on the platform, but I think from people who upload to BitTube, I think I might be the second biggest creator, which really says a lot about how many people are using the platform if this dude right here is the second biggest creator. I'm nobody. I would like to see people using it, but that's probably not going to happen now that people are getting more comfortable on Library and on BitChute. Library itself is getting considerably better though, and it still needs tons and tons of work. I've talked about this every time I bring on a Library creator. There's lots of stuff the platform needs to get done. The spam issue is getting a little better, I guess. Not that much better. It's tiny little bit better. The Android app is functional, I guess. Not really functional, but functional, I guess. And desktop is getting actually pretty good. You have things like MoonPay, so you can buy crypto in the actual app. It with ridiculous fees because it's MoonPay, and it doesn't work in the US because the US doesn't like freedom, which is a weird statement to say. But it works in Australia, and Australia is Australia. So, hey, that's cool. And I think it works in most of the world actually, but not the US. So, yeah. There's other stuff on the platform that's getting better, like they reduced the reward tips, the monetization of the platform so that it can be more sustainable, so they can have more time to, build a proper monetization system and then stop calling it a gift. I talked about that in Crypto Hustlers episode, where they basically frame the idea that the monetization that Library has is like a gift, rather than being, this is how you make money on the platform, which is dumb. The other thing they really need to do is properly, I guess, explain why people are getting rejected, because there's a lot of people who are getting their rewards rejected, and there doesn't seem to be a reason given. And they're like, no, we're not going to give a reason. I've told them for months and months on end, you need to give people a reason, because this is going to start biting you in the ass. And it's starting to bite them in the ass. It's a slow bite. It's only like a little ant nibbling on you, so it's not going to kill you anytime soon. But did you know that in Africa there are ants that will murder elephants? That ants are powerful. So even though it's a little bite, enough of the bite's going to be a problem. Now the way they, if you want to know, if you've never seen it before, an elephant walks slowly, obviously, and you'll have like legions of ants crawl up their leg and then crawl into their ear and eat their brain. That's how it does it. It's not like they bite them to death, but ants are pretty metal. So stay away from ants, I guess, because otherwise they will eat your brain. Where the fuck was I going with that? Ants eating brains. I wish I had someone here right now. Make it much easier. Right. Libraries slowly killing itself by not telling people why they're getting rewards revoked. Yeah, we'll go with revoked. Because one of the reasons you can get rewards revoked is because there's multiple people on the same IP address running library, which means that you can't use library on public Wi-Fi because there's a chance that someone else will be on that public Wi-Fi. And as the platform grows, well, yeah, you can't do that. It's not going to work. You really have to make it so there's a better way to do it. And hopefully, as they shift the reward system to a more long-term solution, they do fix that issue. Because right now, they kind of are just giving excuses about it. And I've railed on them so much about it. I would love to bring someone on to just rail them during the show. Let's phrasing. To rail on them during the show about the mess that the reward system is in, because you can't have a monetization system set up in this messy way. And I think it's like maybe twice a month right now where the rewards just stop working, which is also not good. It's not good. But the platform is getting better, and these are kind of just growing pains. My other problem is obviously that my wallet is really, really slow because I have 1,800 pages, but that's a me problem and not a library problem. I hope they can deal with the library, or the wallet being slow. I don't know what they could do with it. I've never really looked much into actually working with blockchain-y projects and how you can deal with a big wallet. So I don't know what the best way to deal with that will be. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty functional. With 1,800 pages, it still only takes maybe a minute or two, maybe 3 at worst. And if I have a shit connection, like 10. But that's the shit connection part, not library being a problem. So, yeah. Hopefully with little bannings, these platforms take off more. I'm really happy that I've built up an existing audience there, because if they, this is why I built up these existing audiences, because if the platform does take off, I'm already established there, and, rising waters raise all ships, that one, I think that's the quote? Yeah, that's the quote. I think that's the quote. So, as big creators start joining these platforms, if you're already on the platform, and you already have an established user base, then you will continue to grow up as well as these people find your content. Maybe they were already interested in it, but they didn't. Maybe they're already interested in the type of content, but they didn't know about your channel. And they'll see that you're a big creator on this platform already, and oh, well, maybe I'll check this channel out here. Yeah. For example, Bombard's Body Language. I've never heard of Bombard's Body Language, but it's interesting content. So basically, it's breaking down the body language of politicians and things like that to sort of explain what they're really feeling about what they're saying, and whether they believe what they're saying, whether they're trying to lie to people. And it's a pretty interesting channel, I would say. So go check that out. I think I shouted it out. Yeah, I shouted it out in Arius's episode anyway. But if you haven't seen that one, go watch Bombard's body language, and go watch that podcast, because even though we were really tired during it, because it was, I think it was 6 p.m. for me after I'd done 2 videos that day, and it was like 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. or something ridiculous for him. It was still a functional show. I just should have prepared it a bit better. I'm surprised this mic isn't actually clipping as much as it normally does. I really need to replace it. The Blue Yeti is a mess, especially in echoey rooms. So if I have it this close to my face, you can see there's probably gotten way louder. So I can sort of like get up here and do some like ASMR. But if I had like a better mic, it would be much easier to do the ASMR. Not going to do ASMR, but it would be much easier to actually record in a room like this. The problem with the Blue Yeti is it's a naturally very gainy mic. I've actually got the gain turned down to nothing, and there's not much I can do about that. So if I need to do anything, I actually have to turn down the slider in like Pulse Audio or in OBS, because otherwise it's just way too gainy, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that's not even turning down the gain, that's just turning down the volume. Because yeah, if I turn this up at all, just talking above like maybe this level, it starts to clip. So I really want to get a different microphone. Obviously I can deal with it by getting this room less echoey by dealing with this fucking wall back here. Because I have really high ceilings. I've talked about this plenty of times. Really high ceilings. There we go. Really high ceilings. Really echoey room. There's a weird... I'll show you. There's a weird section over here where it's like just echo. So maybe if I just covered up that section with a sheet or something, the room would be just significantly less echoey. But I don't think it's going to do too much, I would say. You can see my figures up there as well. I'm not going to show you one of them because it will get me pulled from YouTube. It's not naked, but I'd rather not show figures that YouTube doesn't like. So, because I've seen a lot of VTubers get pulled just because of the costumes they have on, and the costumes are not that revealing. But that's another story entirely. So what do I have left on the list? I actually have way more content left than I normally would. I think part of the reason is because I'm actually... I mentioned this a bit briefly earlier, with when I was making... with like how my time feels up with making content. I've actually been not scripting, but it's getting very close to scripting my videos. I've been noting out way more stuff, so I think it takes maybe half an hour to an hour to note out every video now. Obviously, if I do something a bit more researchy, like a video, I don't know if it'll be out by now, but I did a video recently on what is swap and whether you need swap space and things like that. And that video took a bit longer. But my general videos take half an hour to an hour to script out, or to note out. And over time, the notes have gotten, or they've changed from just being little dot points to like sometimes being sentences now. So, I don't know how it happens, but yeah, my videos are getting closer to being scripted. I still mainly talk about just nonsense that I can expand upon from a point, but they're getting closer to being scripted. I still like the idea of not scripting them though, because the problem with scripting is, one, you have to write the script, and I don't want to do that. Two, is if you're bad at reading scripts, it starts feeling a bit, I guess, a bit robotic and a bit overproduced, and not like you're trying to really do a show. So, yeah. That's my problem with the scripting stuff. I have noticed that in my videos, I think I wouldn't call it... No, I don't even know how to describe it really, because I think it's a bit truer to how I normally want to act, but I'm tend to be like a bit of a... What's the word? Not inclusive. What am I saying? What's the word where you don't want to go outside? The word where you... I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, where you like being by yourself. So, I've noticed in my videos, I've started to get like a bit more expressive in the way that I talk, and that's more like the way that I want to be. So, I try to keep it up. I try to do it in the podcast as well. But when I'm talking to someone, you might actually notice it. When I'm talking by myself, it's actually a little bit different from when I'm actually talking to someone. I tend to be a bit more expressive and things like that. I don't know. I think it's just because I've always been a bit of like a introvert. That's the word. That's the word I'm thinking of. I've always been a bit of an introvert, so there's a bit of a difference between the way that I act when people are around and the way that I act when people are not around. And I think that the difference between the two of those, because I still, even when I'm recording videos, I know that there's going to be someone watching it, so there's still that bit of weird introverty side that comes out there. But I think I'm getting closer to the point now where it's more like how I want to actually talk. I think that would be the case. So if it sounds like I'm doing the videos in a bit of a different way than I normally would have, that would be why. It's because it's actually a bit closer to the way that I normally want to act. Whether I actually act like that when I'm like actually around people is another story, but that's the way that I actually want to be acting. I think that best describes it. So let me know if that makes any sense down below. I could just be rambling about nothing and that didn't make any sense, but I think that what I said made sense. What do we have left on the list? Why did my door move? Someone knock on my door? I'm gonna check. You guys can have silence for a second. No, my door just moved for no reason. Maybe I'll cut that out? I don't know. Maybe you can just have dead air for a couple of seconds. Yeah, I think maybe someone opened like the back door or something. I know that this house, when there's a bit of a draft, it runs through the entire house because my house is like just a big corridor, basically. So it's like a corridor and there's rooms off to the side. So if you open up the back or the front door, basically the wind will just go through the entire house. So I think that might have been what happened. Anyway, I don't think there's anything I have to cover this week. I have a story on here that I did want to talk about, but I might save that for when someone else is on the show. So yeah, I'll go back to one thing I wanted to talk about earlier, the game streaming thing. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be streaming. If I'm going to stream games, I'm probably going to be doing either retro games, or I might stream some stuff that I have for my PS4. And if I want to do the PS4 stuff, then what I'm going to have to do is get some sort of HDMI stick to like record it from my PS4 so I can actually like, send the signal to my computer. I'll also need an HDMI splitter just to make it a bit easier to do the audio. And yeah, that's maybe also one of the like HDMI things where you can like change the signal. That might also make it a bit easier as well, but I'm not too sure. The splitter and the stick to record are going to be essentials though. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of want to play Pokemon Emerald again. I might just download an emulator and play Pokemon Emerald, even though no one in their right mind is going to want to sit down and watch me play that. Or I might also go back and play like Stardew Valley, because I found out that's on Linux. I didn't know that there was a version of Stardew on Linux. Or, I could also like do Proton and play Path of Exile, because I found out that's a thing now as well, and it looks like the game has completely changed from when I used to play it. So Path of Exile, that's a really fun game. Maybe I'll go back and play that? I don't know. It's definitely a fun game. I'm not sure what I'm going to do right now. And yeah, but for the PS4 stuff, I've got a lot of games over here that I've either started playing or just never really played too much of it and then just didn't bother with it after a while that I really do want to play. Like, I've got Neo over here, and what else do I have? I've got Monster Hunter World, and I've never bothered to actually play these games, even though I would absolutely love them. Or things like, what else do we have? Like Shadow of the Colossus I've got over here as well. I just never played that. Or Nier Automata or Ni no Kuni 2. Like, I love the first Ni no Kuni game. I just never got around to actually playing the second one. And I guarantee I will absolutely adore that game. So maybe maybe streaming can give me an excuse to play those games, but I don't know when I'll start, because I obviously have the honors project, and I do want to finish off my last semester of uni now, because if I don't finish it now, I'll never go back and finish it. Like, if I was to just drop out and then, you know, go back and finish it in a couple of years, the couple of years is not going to happen. I'll just never bother to finish it. So I might start streaming at the end of the year, so it's still a while away. What, like 20 weeks? It'll probably be around December or so. Because I do, there's so many games I want to play, and yeah, with my current setup, I just don't have the time. Because I should, like, when I have the free time, I should be working on the honors project, or I've got it set up so I don't really have to be working on the Linuxy stuff all the time. Obviously, if there's something I want to do, like I want to set up a new window manager, I'll do that. But the way I used to do it was I had to always be testing out software. Now I've kind of put it in like a bit where I can test out the software on the weekend. Obviously, if I need to do something earlier than that, that might go on the list. Like, I want to try out Herbluf's WM, which seems like a really cool window manager, so we'll see what happens there. And there's some stuff, obviously, I do with BSPWM all the time. I just mess around with scripts all the time, so when that stuff happens, I kind of change around how I'm working on stuff. But for just the general, like, okay, I'm gonna check out this software, this software, this software, and this software this week, that stuff I tend to just do on the weekends and leave it at that. Whoa! We are at an hour 21. I don't know. Do I want to bring it out to an hour 30 or just want to end it here? I don't know. I guess we can see what happens. So there is one last thing I do want to talk about, and I'm going to do a video on this, and I'm going to be recording it the week this comes out. So frequently on Reddit, I will see someone be like, hey, I ran this command. I don't know what this command does, but now something doesn't work. Why did you run the command? What are you doing? Like, I don't understand why there are so many people who are this dumb when it comes to using just their computer in general. Why are you running something when you have literally no idea what it does? Whether that be on Windows, on macOS, on Linux, don't run commands if you don't know what the command does. That is, without a doubt, the dumbest thing I've ever heard someone do, because they're like, oh, well, I have... people try to troll me by trying to get me to run rm/rf /star, which is basically nuke your root partition. Oh, my light died. And there was someone who was like, oh, well, is there a way to, like, blacklist this command? I'm going to fix this light. I'm going to keep talking. Is there a way to blacklist this command so that I can't run it on my system? And here's what you do, okay? You don't run the command in the first place. So if someone sends you like, hey, here's this thing, it's a bit of hex values, and it pipes it into another command, and that command does a thing. What that command is probably going to do is convert that hex into a string value, and then it's going to, you know, nuke your system. So don't run commands if you don't know what they do. Same with things that are pretty safe, like pacman-SCC. What that does is that will nuke your package cache. Now, it doesn't do anything bad, but don't run it without understanding what it does. Or pacman-RCNS. That'll delete your package, that'll delete the dependencies, delete the things that are dependent on the package, and also delete any of the configs that are saved in the etc directory. So don't run it if you don't know what it does. Pretty much that. That pretty much sums up what I wanted to say about that. Now, I'm going to do a full video on that where I, you know, properly plan it out and give some examples about things, or about what could happen, and some examples of things you shouldn't run, and also even just basic stuff like how to find out what you're running, you know? Read the man page. I don't know how that's going to sound, to be honest. Yeah, read the man page. Read just... If it's something that seems like a weird command, like, as I said, piping a hex value into some other command, just search for the command, because it's probably a common command that people use to troll people. So don't run it. Stop it. I'm sick of seeing these posts where people are like, oh, I ran this command, it broke something. Stop. Just stop. Stop using your computer. Stop running commands. Just stop. Fucking water. It's fucking water. Anyway, we're not going to get this out to an hour 30, so I think I will end it here. But before I go, I'm not going to thank my patrons yet. I'm going to do the thing where I bring up a channel that's cool. So, what channel are we going to look at today? Here we go. Yeah, that's one. So I mentioned it briefly earlier. He only has a small amount of subscribers on Library. It is, drum roll. Actually, I can't drum roll and also, type stuff in because I only have 2 hands. Yeah, and a drum roll with 1 hand just sounds bizarre. Anyway, this is HexDSL. He does Linux gaming stuff mainly. I think actually pretty much all Linux gaming stuff. There might be something in here that's not Linux gaming. Yeah, I feel like he did a video on like Goyo or something, but 99% of what he does is Linux gaming stuff. So come check out HexDSL. His channel seems to be pretty cool. He's much similar to what I do in the podcast in his regular content. Like, he'll just swear and stuff. Like, on my main channel, I don't do that because, YouTube revenue. And YouTube doesn't like naughty words because they're run by Puritans or something. Yeah, he does mainly Linux gaming stuff, and it's all pretty sweet content. So come check this channel out, I would say. Yeah, if someone's actually got a different, or if someone's got some like more Linux channels I can check out, I'm more than happy to check them out, even if it's just your own, and you have like maybe 100, 200 subs. As I said, I'm gonna bring on people who I think are cool people to the channel. I would like to bring on HexDSL. I reckon I could probably get him to do it. But yeah, if you have any cool channels, and not just cool Linux channels, just cool channels in general, feel free to let me know, because I'm always up for seeing a cool new channel, even more so if it's not a Linux channel, because then I'm more likely to actually continue watching it. So for example, as I've brought up, I'm a big fan of The Lockpicking Lawyer, which is a channel that does lockpicking, and that is all it does. And I don't have any interest whatsoever in lockpicking, but apparently I do, because I've watched too many of his videos. So, yeah. Feel free to let me know about any cool channels. I am more than happy to check them out. So, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. But before I go, I want to thank my patrons. A special thank you to Joachim, Craig, Nathan, Andrew, Pete E, Rode, Tony, Donald, and Zilva. The names have actually changed around a bit. I think, yeah, there's a couple names that have shifted around. Craig is the newest patron. Maybe if I should say it this slowly in my outro for my regular videos, then people will actually be able to understand what I'm saying. Because normally it's like, a special thank you to Joachim, Craig, Nathan, Andrew, Montezar, Peter... No, Montezar's not on the list anymore. A special thank you to Joachim, Craig, Nathan, Andrew, Peter Lee, Roy, Tony, Donald, and Silva. That's how I normally say it, but maybe I should do it slower. Joachim, Craig, Nathan, Andrew, Peter Lee, Roy, Tony, Donald, and Silva. It'll also make it a bit easier to say, I guess. I might try that out. We'll see what I decide to do. Anyway, if you want to check out this channel and you're watching the audio version, you're listening to the audio version, the video version of this is available on Library and also on YouTube. Maybe on BitChute in the future, but not at this stage. I'm thinking about putting on BitChute as well, though. If you want to listen to the audio version, though, and you're watching the video, the audio version is available literally anywhere you can find audio podcasts. So there's an RSS feed. Even if you can't search for podcasts, just put in the RSS feed. It'll work. If you want to check out my main channel, that is available on YouTube, Library, BitTube, and BitChute. There's a lot of platforms. And yeah. Go follow the Twitter and Mastodon. I don't have a Parler account for the Tech of a T channel. I'm just going to do all of that stuff through the main one because I already have enough social media accounts to maintain. The only reason I have the Mastodon for the podcast is because I have a bot to automatically do it. So if someone wants to make a bot to auto post on Minds and on Parler from a Twitter account, I'll have Parler and Minds accounts for the podcast, but otherwise, I'm not going to do so. As you can see, I am sort of trying to drag this out to an hour 30, but you know what? I think we're just going to end it as close to that as possible. I do want to get it very close to it, but anyway, I think that is pretty much everything for the podcast. I don't actually have someone to bounce an outro off of this time, so I think that we're going to drag this out until I get to an hour, 59 seconds, and then end it right there. I'm going to talk slowly until we get to that point, and this is probably great content right now. So that's everything for me, and